Let's spread it all the way on.
Hey everybody, welcome to the program. Saturday, the 28th. It's rainy outside.
Oh yeah, it's a piece of shit down here too.
Is it down there?
It's garbage. It's trash out there.
It's actually, it's a nice day for my cousin's wedding. A rainy day. But he's getting married indoors, so I'm pretty sure he's okay.
Oh yeah, well, when's that at?
I think like 5. 5 this afternoon.
5-ish.
So I'll have to get ready and put on my Sunday best. Head on over to a wedding.
You excited?
I don't mind weddings. I don't mind some weddings. My cousin's wedding should be fun.
yours was one of my favorites.
It was a good wedding. It was a good time.
It was
Also,
pretty lit.
it was pretty lit, family.
Oh. No, we're good at this. We appeal to all ages, without a doubt.
Who wants to play some Fortnite?
Am I right?
All right.
Cartoon video games are cool.
That game sucks ass.
Yeah, that game's not fun.
No, I don't like those. Arena games.
Well, it's just short attention span games, right? Like you can just
Yeah.
hop on, play something for 5 seconds, be like, "Oh, is there a blue car outside?" and then quit.
Yeah. Whereas games like, I don't know, Red Dead Redemption take you 4 hours just to get out of the first part. Oh, I better start recording the podcast now. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast, too. The live show as well as this one. Welcome to Sports Program, 9/28, Saturday, 2019, the year of our Lord and Savior, Christ Jesus.
Wow,
Yeah, you like
that's
that?
very official.
You
Makes
like
me
that?
feel way more official about this show.
It's been anointed by Christ himself. Oh no, don't say that. I'm gonna get struck by lightning. or
Yeah,
something.
Jesus, big fan of the show.
Jesus, big fan of the show.
Watch us every Saturday.
Do you think when Jesus watches football and his team does bad, he goes, "Oh me"?
Me, damn it.
I would.
I don't know.
I would do it if I was Jesus. All right. Let's talk about sports.
Fine.
Okay.
I guess that sounds fine.
Fine. All right. So, let's talk about how we did in the Pick'em last week. I had a pretty good week.
I didn't. I don't think. I
No?
got 10.
I think I got 11. Pretty happy about it. But like you said, if you get 10 a week, you're in it.
It keeps you in it. Yeah. So
Keeps you in it.
a couple of good steals I got were Lions at Philadelphia.
Yes, you did.
A couple
Good
of
bet.
games that kind of like surprised me. Giants at Tampa Bay.
Yep.
And then there's a game
Damn.
that I was just like, what was... Actually, there was probably 2 games where I was like, what was I thinking? Oh, another steal I got, though, New Orleans and Seattle. I was extremely confident about that, and it worked
Yes,
out.
you were.
A couple of games where I was like, what the hell was I thinking?
Mhm.
Obviously, both of us had that Thursday night game, and we were hitting ourselves for it.
Yep.
But
oh man, I was so mad.
I was dumb and had faith in the Washington Redskins
Yeah.
to
You sure
get
did.
a W somehow against the Chicago Bears, and they looked terrible. And people are
Yeah.
already asking for a move at quarterback,
Yep.
which they should, because I don't think Case Keenum should have ever been the starter. And I know neither do you. We're both biased. We both think if you're going to go not go with the rookie, you go with Colt McCoy,
Yep.
who they wanted to be the starter in the first place. And now they're not saying they're going to bench Case Keenum, which is driving me nuts. Because
Yeah.
if you want to win games, I feel like anybody else is a better option.
You know what you should do when you're a football team is you should put a starting quarterback in there if you have one. And they're starting a third string quarterback. So
Yeah, they're starting a guy who at one point in time was the best third string quarterback in the NFL.
yeah, and you know what? Case Keenum is a really good third string quarterback.
He's even a pretty good second string quarterback.
He is a pretty good second string quarterback. You know what he is not though? He is not a good starting quarterback.
He's not even a bad starting quarterback because he just shouldn't be a starting
Because he
quarterback.
isn't a starting quarterback. So I don't.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to understand why they're doing it. I mean, Denver also did the same thing. So, and Denver, that perplexes me even further because I'm still just blown away that John Elway cannot select a quarterback for that team.
Right. Well, he can bring in free agents all day. Like
Sure.
I don't think Joe Flacco was a terrible move.
No. I
I don't. Obviously, Peyton Manning worked out for him.
don't.
I
Yeah.
think Case Keenum was a 1-year placeholder, and they knew that.
Yeah.
But I also thought they thought they were going to get someone better than what they did get in the draft. So
Sure.
And they obviously drafted someone who will take a couple years to progress. So Joe Flacco makes sense there now. We can talk about Denver soon because they now have Jalen Ramsey. I'm very excited to talk about that.
Yeah.
It's a team that I already thought was going to be sneaky competitive this year anyways. And I think this helps. Now, they did get off to a bad start.
Sure.
Obviously. They've had a couple of really tough losses. But the fact that they were tough losses means I think with Jalen Ramsey moving forward, he's a very young player. They have to be excited. They have a veteran quarterback and a bunch of young, talented players.
I still just can't believe that he got to Denver. It's very shocking.
I wonder if he'll be happier there. That's what I want to know. Now, I know he at least went to a place that puts a premium on defensive players, and so they're going to pay him. And I think that happiness for most cornerbacks comes with money. So.
Yes, I think so too. I don't know. I don't know if he'll be happier there. I mean, based on the fact that I still think the Jaguars probably have a little more. Well, God, I don't know. I don't know what the Jaguars have either. I'd rather be in Denver.
If happiness came from winning, though, I would say he has a better chance to win this year in no other division. I mean, yes, the Texans are good,
right.
and they will win the division, but the Titans don't look great right now. The Colts, Jacoby Brissett's overperformed, or maybe he's just the real deal, or maybe the rest of the team's so good it doesn't matter. Hard to say. But either way, that division's still anyone's game.
Yeah.
Denver is even still probably the fourth best team in their division because I actually think the Raiders are better than them.
I do too, and
they've already showed it, actually.
Yeah, and so it must not be winning alone. It's money.
I had the Falcons wrong last week because I'm biased. You had the Colts, and I think most people had the Colts. I don't think a lot of people have faith in the Falcons, so I can't really say I feel dumb for that pick.
Sure.
One I do feel dumb on is picking against the Kansas City Chiefs any week. I feel like right now picking against the Chiefs or the Patriots, unless they're playing each other, you just shouldn't do. So I took a leap and went with Lamar Jackson, and they almost came back.
You know what? That was a good game though.
But for the second and third quarter, I mean, the Chiefs were completely dominant.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what the Ravens' game plan was. Honestly, they refused to kick extra points right off the bat.
Yeah.
So they scored first, then they miss a 2-point conversion, and then all Kansas City has to do is score a touchdown and kick the extra point, and they have the lead. I feel like that set them back immediately. Mm-hmm. You have the best kicker in the history of football, and instead they're like, oh, well, our analytics team said to go with the options that we went with, and they're trying to justify it, and it goes, no, you wouldn't have lost by an extremely weird 5-point margin if you had just kicked some extra points.
Yep.
Maybe at the end of the game, instead of needing a touchdown to come back, maybe you could have just tied it with a field goal.
Yep.
And we would have had an overtime game.
Speaking of weird calls, how about going for it on 4th and 9 when you have plenty of time to play in a game? Freddie Kitchens, you weirdo. And you know what? Nobody hates Freddie Kitchens as much as Freddie Kitchens does, is what we've learned in his post-game interview. Because, goddamn, that dude beat himself up. Did you watch that?
Well, he is taking all the blame for anything that happens.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the media wants to give him all the blame, but
sure.
I'm glad that I hate Baker Mayfield. I'll say that, but I'm glad he at least stepped forward and said, and I think some of the other players said it too. But they're like, we also have to go out there and execute.
Yeah, I mean,
plays that are called.
I honestly, I watched that post game. I honestly felt, so I just started feeling bad for the dude. He's just like,
because of how bad he beat himself up.
Yeah, because he's just, I'm like, man, I've been there. I've been there. He's just like, it's a bad call. It's a bad call. Bad decision. I'm a bad coach. I'm a bad person. I'm a piece of shit. My wife hates me. My kids hate me.
Probably going to get a divorce. Kids are probably going to ask to have a different last name.
I got a small dick.
My wife already makes me watch.
My wife cuts me.
I don't.
What else?
Like it.
What else?
My wife's already hanging out with Baker.
My wife's leaving me for Baker Mayfield. She pegs me. I'm a piece of crap. Nobody likes me.
This is quickly getting
my brother
not Facebook appropriate.
My dad told me the wrong one died.
Yeah,
wrong kid died. God, I just feel bad for him. This is a bad call. Bad call, bad move, I'm a bad coach, I'm a piece of crap. Everybody hates me. That's my new Freddie Kitchens impersonation, everyone. God, it was just, it was hard to watch, though. And finally, after he just berated himself, I'm like, dude, you gotta stop. Because you're turning into a soundbite now. And
no, I loved it because they do suck. And he is a bad coach, and
oh yeah,
I mean it's a bad team, and so I appreciate that they're at least acknowledging what they are, and I like that about them.
Sure,
everyone but Baker. Baker's like, we'll show you.
I know.
We know what we are.
Unless you're wearing brown and gold or orange.
Yeah, you
Shut
don't
up,
matter.
Baker, you suck.
Yeah, he's a trash human,
yeah.
and not a very good quarterback. But also their offensive lines. Like, they're not helping him out.
No,
and
they're
Freddie
not.
Kitchens keeps calling plays that are just leaving him exposed.
Yeah.
And he's an undersized quarterback, so you have to get him out of the pocket, or you have to move the pocket, and you have to create throwing lanes for him, which they're trying to do. But in the process of trying to do so, they're just hanging him out to dry. He's also forcing a lot of balls. I've said it like 3 weeks in a row now. He's just like really just jamming it in there.
Yeah.
And he's got all the weapons in the world, so there's no excuse.
Yeah, no, they suck.
They got a talented defense. They have great skill position players. He's got a great running back. I don't know. Maybe it's the offensive line's fault, but I want to say it's his. And it's Freddie Kitchens' fault too, because I mean, what did he do to deserve a head coaching job? When they turned it around last year, he wasn't even the head coach. He was the offensive coordinator still. Like, I understood the whole beef with Williams because Williams was the head coach when they turned it around, and he got none of the credit.
But I still don't understand. So, number one, to build on your point, how he got the job, and also why, if he called all the plays last year, how come is he not calling the same type of plays this year? How come? Okay, if you did figure out something that was working last year, how come you change it?
How come
you change your mind? Why do you all of a sudden suck now so badly?
Why what works so good not work so good no more?
How come? Hey.
But isn't Baker Mayfield? How come isn't Baker Mayfield supposed to be 1 year older and one more year more better? And yet, how come he's not?
Hey, how come you add Odell Beckham Jr. and you're not good?
Yeah, how come I thought Bradley Chubb was the answer, or Nick Chubb was the answer, and how come he's not?
Yeah, how come?
I think we have a new weekly segment called "How Come."
How come? How come though? Why come you not? I don't get it. I just don't. He was the offensive coordinator last year. You were calling all those plays. What happened? How come? How come you suck now? I don't get it.
I just want them to show up to your house, look you in the face, and tell you how come.
Tell me, you owe it to the Browns organization and those fans to explain how come
Yeah.
hard hitting,
And that
hard
hard
hitting
hitting sports facts.
hard hitting journalism.
How come?
How come? How come
So,
it's not
yeah,
working?
we can get back to the Browns when we do our pick 'em because
Yeah.
I'm sure we have some more hard hitting questions for them.
Absolutely.
Was there any game last week where you're just like, how come I picked who I picked?
Well, yeah. So first
Yeah.
off, I mean, so again, the Steelers did better than I expected against the 49ers. But my big WTF moment there was, how come how come you get 5 turnovers? Man, the 49ers wanted you to win that game.
Okay,
They were
here's the
literally
thing about the 49ers, though. The
giving you
49ers
the
are
ball.
undefeated, and who has turned the ball over more than them?
No one.
Maybe the Falcons.
Yeah,
well,
maybe.
we have.
But I mean, in one game now. I mean, in one game they turned it over 5 times.
Well, and I think they turned it over 3 times in the Tampa game and won that one
Yeah.
as well.
And the 49ers were literally giving the Steelers that game. But here's the ball. I mean, literally, they're giving them the ball to go win the game, and they could not pull it off. Now, I mean, maybe it's Mason Rudolph. I don't know if Ben is going to do much better in that game. I mean, he was terrible in week 1, so he's rusty anyways. They're always
I mean, I personally think that Ben would have
inconsistent.
done much better, but
He would have done much better, yes. I just don't. That division's weird because, well, everyone lost. For one thing, every single one of them lost. So
that's got to give you hope, though.
it does give me hope. I mean, it makes it. Between the Bengals and the Steelers, someone has to win this weekend. So that gives me hope. It's in Pittsburgh. That gives me hope. So the Steelers should probably get their first win of the season. I just couldn't believe they had that many turnovers, and the Steelers defense was playing a lot better. I mean, they're forcing the ball. It's they start looking good. Minka Fitzpatrick got an interception.
Well, besides for the third quarter, San Francisco's offense didn't look great.
No.
I thought they played 3 other great quarters of defense, honestly.
Yeah. So, that was probably my WTF game, was just for that many turnovers. I will also say the good God, the Seattle Seahawks really sucked it up this weekend. And what a cool pick on your part to be able to call that. I believe my buddy Patrick was at that game, which, that's too bad.
Well, this is just one thing I kind of learned last year. Before last year, we were seeing these just gaudy number games from Drew Brees, where he was throwing for 350, a few touchdowns, almost every game, right? Just
Right.
carrying that offense. And then when they had that 2-headed monster with Ingram and Kamara last year, we all of a sudden started seeing games where Drew Brees only threw for 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns. But he played it safe, no interceptions. So they just took care of the ball, switched their quarterback to more of a game manager role, but at times has to make plays because he's got the playmakers on the outside like Michael Thomas, which is what we're seeing this year with Gardner Minshew, who's doing a very good job at it as well. Because the defense is amazing. Alvin Kamara is amazing. So they've switched to that method. And when Teddy Bridgewater was healthy for the Vikings, there weren't very many better game-managing quarterbacks than Teddy Bridge. I mean, he kind of hung his hat on it the first couple of years of his career, saying, Vikings defense got my back, running game has my back, I'm going to go out there and protect the football. So if we can get that Teddy Bridgewater, plus the talented Saints offensive players around him, I think the Saints team can still easily win that division.
Oh yeah, especially if Teddy can win half of those games for Breeze to come back too. I mean, if that's what they do, if that's what ends up happening, he keeps him in it. If he can win even just half the games, so that was a much needed win for them, honestly. And what a great momentum for them to go beat Seattle. in Seattle.
In Seattle.
Yeah, well, it's huge. Especially, well, it kind of gives me a little perspective on Seattle's Division Two, or I mean, also, uh, man, the Rams probably gonna win that.
That's where I've been, and then San Francisco taking a wild card.
Yep, I'm there too. Seattle, I had at least Seattle winning or wild carding, but now I am not sure with how San Francisco looks. If I might be flip flopping is what I'm saying. It might be Seattle that isn't sniffing the playoffs.
That's okay. I flip flopped week 1. I came on here and I immediately was like, I was wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to admit it.
Yeah.
They are not the chosen ones.
No, and as easy was to say that the Rams weren't going to sniff the playoffs, which is typically, I mean, honestly, what happens. Usually the losing team, just the next, the losing Super Bowl team, just, it just happens.
They have a down year. They go to a down year, or they have a down decade if you're like the Oakland Raiders.
Oh, my God, yeah. But no, I think, honestly, I think McVay's the real deal. I think Goff can be the real deal. That's a good team. And I think they're going to be around for a while. I don't think that's the new.
They're doing a good job with load management when it comes to Todd Gurley. Malcolm Brown's a great backup for him. Oh, man, I'm going to say it every week. Cooper Kupp is the freaking man. Yeah. That dude just goes out on the field every week and just lays the pipe, man. That big old pipe of his, he's just putting it out on the field every week for all to see. When I'm watching the game, I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's some pipe.
That dude's laying pipe right now.
I'm like, wow, he is taking the pipe and he is laying it down because he has plenty of pipe to give. He has a surplus of pipe, and he is going to lay it down.
Every single time I watch him play, I always just think, how come they don't tackle him?
Yeah, there was a big touchdown run where I'm like, wow, they probably could have tackled that guy, and how come they didn't?
How come they didn't? No.
Yeah, it's like he wasn't even gonna lay pipe, and then they're like, no, it's fine. We'll make some room for you to lay that pipe down.
They were like that. They were like that Kermit meme.
Oh God. Yeah, is this what you want? We'll have to put that on our Instagram page later for context. I'll just tag the top of it. I'll tag the top of it. I'll be like Cooper Kupp, and then Kermit the puppet just really opening up, and I'll be like Browns defense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we could do a show at some point.
No, I can't. I'm thinking about the meme now. All right. All right. We gotta change the subject.
Have you been? You do gotta post that
on Instagram.
Have you been paying attention to all of the random Antonio Brown beefs?
Oh yeah, they're hilarious.
It started with Weedle, and not only that, but Antonio Brown's the type of dude who I don't care if you spell you-are. Actually, I do. Or don't capitalize your I's. Also, I care. But it's even worse when you're just not spelling any of the words right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how does someone else take him seriously in, like, a Twitter war when I guarantee his next, like, clapback is going to be like, yeah, but you smell like butt, fool. Yeah. Like, it's just, eventually he's not even going to say anything that makes any sense. He's like, yeah, but I bet you smell like butt.
Yeah, he's insane. And
you're not a real one.
You know who his Twitter game kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me, actually everything, all of his antics, he kind of a little bit reminds me of the leader of the free world, Donald J. Trump. He's kind of acting like the Prez, a little bit.
It feels very reminiscent. Have an equally salty Twitter game.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, every time I see him post a new thing, I'm just like, oh my God. And the last time I thought that is when I saw, the president posts something, and this is not a political show, but I'll go, oh my God, he's tweeting again, he's at it again, And now I'm thinking that again. When I see Antonio post something, I'm like, oh my God, he's just not stopping.
Yeah, it was like 4 days ago. He's like, I'm going back to college. Fuck the game.
Oh yeah.
And then like a day later, it's like Antonio Brown is interested in joining a team. And then a day after that, he's Twitter war with Weddle. And then
now he's
all
in
of
a
a
new
sudden
one
yesterday, he's hopping onto Baker Mayfield's Twitter post, which was equally hilarious because Baker looked like he was almost about to get into like a Twitter war with a fan. And then all of a sudden, Antonio Brown's like, I'm going to give this dude bigger fish to fry. And
you also, you cannot engage the fans. You can't do it. Man, hasn't Kevin Durant taught you anything? Don't engage.
I think for some people it's taught that you can do it because, like, really, how has this hurt Kevin Durant at all? You know what I mean?
Well, I just mean it hasn't hurt him. It just makes you look like a. It just doesn't make you look better.
I know, but they're all trying to be like, but I'm a real person. Like,
yeah.
every person we just talked about, Baker Mayfield, Antonio Brown, Kevin Durant. At one point in time, every single one of them has made a comment along the lines of, well, we're real people too.
Yeah.
And so we're allowed to do stuff that real people do and say.
I know, and
which is true. They're allowed to.
That is true.
I'm actually agreeing with it. I don't know why I'm mocking them in that voice.
But I agree with them too, but at the same time, when you engage, human beings are poison. And the comment section is poison, and you should not engage that because you're going like, yeah, well, you probably smell like butt, and then people who are complete strangers who you do not know who they are like, well, why don't you go get a fucking knife and kill yourself? Like, dude, like, do people go to the absolute worst? Like, there are people like tweeting. I mean, before Roman Reigns, before he got leukemia or whatever, or what, said he had leukemia and then went and filmed the movie and then came back. Ooh,
yeah.
Hot take. I don't want to say that too many times.
That's not even a hot take. That's just exactly what happened. And y'all can decide what you think happened in between.
Anyway, ooh, God, don't give me leukemia. Anywho.
Yeah, because he probably really had it and we're dickheads.
Maybe, but all I know is that, hey, all I'm saying is that he didn't have leukemia, and then he did have leukemia, and while he had leukemia, he went and filmed a movie with The Rock, and then when the movie got done filming, he didn't have leukemia anymore.
Well, you do know that every single Make-A-Wish kid that's met The Rock no longer has leukemia.
Also,
because they're not alive anymore.
Also, I just want to add in there, too, just one more... Oh, you monster.
They don't have it anymore.
Nope, they do not. They are cured. I want to add in there.
We're canceled.
I want to add one more point that actually this does play into what I was saying, though, actually, before I'm going off on a Roman Reigns tangent, though. Prior to getting his life-altering leukemia, he was also the most hated good guy on wrestling, and people would tell him about it on Twitter, and he engaged, and it just makes it worse. And they're telling him things, and people are going on Twitter and they're saying things like, I hate you, Roman Reigns, I hope you get cancer. And then, well, he had leukemia, so. But people say that crap on the internet. Like, that's the thing.
Oh,
so
they'll
people,
say anything, yeah.
Yeah, so people are poison. Yeah, that's why, I don't know. I don't engage. Don't engage. But, also, real quick, Roman Reigns was the most hated. Then he left with leukemia and filmed the movie while he had leukemia. And then he didn't have leukemia anymore and he came back. And also, in between that time, because he came back, he's also, like, the most beloved character in wrestling now. And it seemed to have... completely shift the motions, and it's making them buckets of money, and that's all I'll ever say that ever again. Never again.
Yeah, and y'all can decide.
Y'all can decide how that went down.
And y'all can decide if if God decided he got leukemia or if his PR agent did. Y'all can decide.
Someone decided that he had leukemia.
I'm pretty sure Freddie Prinze Jr. wrote that script.
Oh, he might have. Freddie Prinze Jr. was a writer for wrestling. Anywho,
Yeah,
look,
I
Baker
watched
Mayfield.
he goes on the Ariel Helwani show a lot because he is a huge UFC guy. He's a boxing guy too. He grew up actually like training and all that just because of who his dad knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, he'll go on there sometimes and write about or talk about some of the stories he used to write for them. And it's interesting stuff. So if you ever get a chance, Ariel Helwani's MMA show, find an episode of Freddie Prinze. They are dynamite.
Wouldn't it be really funny if he wrote the plot to She's All That in one of the episodes? They have a character dates a girl on a bet.
Oh yeah, like, and you get to see all the backstage stuff, but yet somehow she didn't know about the bet, even though the whole audience did. Because they videotaped it.
Mm-hmm. You mark my words, if that storyline comes on wrestling, Freddie Prinze wrote that storyline, and he just took it from one of his movies.
Or like, potentially like Roman Reigns and a couple of the other characters went out celebrating prom night and get a little too drunk, and they accidentally like hit the Undertaker with their car. And then have to like throw him into like the bay or something, and then like all of a sudden he starts like murdering them one by one.
With like a meat hook.
Well, like a meat hook. I don't know, just completely original idea.
Completely original. He made it up.
And then I'd be watching. I'd be like, I don't think Freddie Prinze would have came up with that. That's just not really on brand for Freddie P.
Real quick, before we do our pick'em, which is we're getting about that time.
Yeah,
did you see in the storyline before Clash of Champions? I'm glad we're talking a little wrestling, but anyway, in the storyline before Clash of Champions, someone tried running over Roman Reigns with their car. That was the storyline, right? Yeah. And how unfortunate that it happened like a week after. Like the Usos got in trouble for like drunk driving.
Oh yeah.
And Twitter and Instagram, like WWE would post like who did it, who hit Roman Reigns, and they just opened themselves up like that Kermit meme.
Oh god.
For people to just roast them. Just they roasted the Usos. They're like, obviously it was the Usos drunk driving. I mean, it was just, and millions of people commented that. Like everyone at the same time saw the meme, and then all of a sudden was like, "Oh my god, I gotta make this joke."
I love it.
Oh man, it was so good.
Did we ever find out who's been trying to kill him?
I think it was that big redhead, that big ginger.
Oh yeah, duh. That was implied.
But Luke Harper, that indie wrestler who looked like he left. He came back and they're a tag team again, so that's kind of cool.
I like that.
Had a little break. His name is like Brody. In the independent circuit, you'll like this. He's like Brody Lee or something like that, and it's because he kind of looks like Jason Lee. And Brody's his character's name in Chasing Amy.
Oh my god.
And then so in the independent circuit, he used to go by Brody Lee, I believe. That's because
everyone knows that Chasing Amy is probably the most underrated Kevin Smith movie.
I mean, it's probably one of the. So I'm not a big Kevin Smith guy. So I like Chasing Amy. I don't really like a lot of the other movies.
Did you ever watch Red State, his horror movie?
Yeah, see, no, I like Red State. I kind of think, like he makes
Zack
movies.
And Mary Make a Porno?
I do like Zack and Mary Make a Porno.
Do you like Dogma?
Yep, I do like Dogma.
So you do? Do you like?
It's more okay. It's more like. It's interesting because he makes. You know what it was? Is I watched 10 minutes of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back this morning, and I was like, "This sucks."
Yeah, that movie.
Maybe it's
is
just
not
that movie
very
ruined it.
That movie is like a cheesy American Pie-esque film.
Yeah, that's true. Because you know what? Clerks is fine too, and so is Clerks 2. So.
Clerks 2 is excellent.
Maybe I just do. Maybe I do like those movies.
Yeah, because I mean,
That's all of
don't
them.
even get me started about pillow pants.
But now I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch that new Jan and Silent Bob movie though. I think it looks terrible.
Yeah, it's just gonna be the. It's gonna be, yeah, it's
Well,
gonna be the last one all over again.
So in the Jan and Silent Bob movie, before we do our Pickems here, it's just a retelling of all the jokes they've used and all the stuff. So it's just fan service. So like they see Brody. Oh,
Right.
Mallrats. That's his name in Mallrats is Brody. So
Right.
Jason Lee, and he's like, here's the pulse and here's your finger far up your ass, and then he like looks at them, which is kind of towards the camera. He's like, hey, would you like a chocolate covered pretzel? It's like, oh, har, man, what a cool callback, I guess, to the stupidest, most disgusting part of Mallrats, I guess. Like that's the joke you wanna, like that's the one you dusted off for it, like.
Right, the
God,
worst, probably the worst joke they've ever told.
The worst joke. I mean, obviously it should have been, what, like in the back of a Volkswagen or something, you know. That kid's on that escalator again, you know, something. not the chocolate covered pretzel, like that part.
Oh yeah, it only makes you wonder what they're gonna bring back in the new one.
I know, and
It's gonna be callback to callbacks of callbacks.
and I'm glad Jason Mewes is healthy enough to do it, but boy, he looks bad. Oof.
Yeah,
Woof.
yeah, that's rough. That's actually I have a hard time watching anything with him in it because it makes me just kind of like, just makes you realize like, wow.
Yeah, man, he's super like gaunt. Oof. It's hard.
Yeah,
he's hard to
his
see.
whole face has been sucked in like a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah,
but,
I feel bad for him. I'm glad he's cleaned up to do this movie, but man, 10
on
years
that
late.
high note,
Yeah, let's do it.
let's do some pick'em
Do some pick'em.
and not do drugs.
Don't do drugs, kids.
This pick'em is brought to you by not doing drugs.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Oh, I will say this also. I've been thinking about it a lot this week because I've been listening to a lot of like NPR and stuff in the morning.
Okay.
I really hope neither of us ever become famous because all of this will come back to burn us one day.
Oh yeah.
Everything I've ever said, they're like, Zach can't do this because he said this on this radio show on Facebook.
Yes.
And then I'm not going to make the cast of Saturday Night Live like that one dude they just kicked off before an episode ever aired.
Yes. Agreed.
Did you hear about that? Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that. How come?
One of their new cast members, he is still doing a podcast with one of his buddies, and he said a bunch of extremely racist shit towards Asian people, and did not take long for people to bring that up.
Yeah.
So he got kicked off before the season ever started, and in typical like ignorant, like probably drunken white comedian fashion, just immediately was like, "Whoa, fuck those guys, anyways." You know.
Oh yeah.
My edge is what makes me a comedian.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I always hope, like Ward will sometimes dig off some old Basement Boy stuff and like, hey, I was thinking about posting this, and I'm like, hey, could you don't post that one, you know, or we'll listen to something before we post off an old thing, just because some of that old content it was very shock value for the purpose of being shocking, so
right. And shock value has changed in that time period.
yes, so we say some stuff on this show that could be deemed as shocking, I guess, but I don't feel like I'm gonna get in trouble for most of the things I've said.
No one's gonna be mad at us.
No, except for maybe Roman Reigns and maybe Kermit the Frog.
Or anybody that currently has a kid with leukemia.
We've really alienated that audience of people with leukemia kids
that listen to the show currently that are huge Zach and Derek sports talk fans.
Our analytics tell us that we've lost those fans.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna have to comb through the 89 views today and see who the one is that's gonna be mad, and apologize to them.
God,
anyways, let's do some pick'em.
God, we're monsters. All right. Number one out of the gate here. Well, first off, Eagles, Packers. I think we were all wrong.
Yeah, everyone but like one person was wrong. Let's move on.
Yep. Titans are going to Atlanta for the Falcons. The Titans. Well, I mean, for one thing, the Titans have proven to me that that anyone can win that division, really. So,
Right.
I don't think the Titans are. They got beat by the Jaguars with a backup quarterback, with Gardner Minshew, who's, by the way, a better quarterback than Case Keenum. Not a hot take, just a fact. Also better than Luke Falk. So, sorry, Luke.
Yeah,
but you
true.
suck. Anyway.
Who was drafted by the Titans?
Yes. I'm taking the Falcons in this game, though. I am confident that they can get the win at home. The Titans are still. I think they're just still trying to put that together.
Yep. The story around the league this week, or that the media is creating, and they've been creating it for a few weeks now, is that if Mariota has a bad game, he will be benched. And I really hope that does not happen. That makes part of me want to root for the Titans, even though the Falcons are my squad. Like, I hope the Falcons only win by the 4.5 points that Vegas expects. Now, you can't win by 4.5 points, sure. So maybe they win by 4 or 5. Fine. But I hope it's close. And I hope it's not because of Mariota. And, I think the Falcons win it anyways. I will say they are at the top of ESPN's upset list for their Vegas upsets, because they are only a 4.5 point favorite. And the Falcons have looked pretty terrible this year. If there's any defense that could make Marcus Mariota look like an NFL quarterback, especially in the first 2 quarters, because that's when they really seem to suck, it's the Falcons. They're probably just going to spread open and let Marcus Mariota do whatever he wants. But also, Freeman's starting to look better. Second half of every game, it seems like Matt Ryan really seems to connect with everyone. This is the best season so far of Hooper's career already.
Yeah.
Keanu Neal's already out for the season with an Achilles, second year in a row. Best defensive player out for the year. They need Grady Jarrett back. I'm terrified. The defense is just exactly that Kermit the Frog meme, and I'm going to put that on our Instagram right after the show's over. Next.
I really want to take the Titans now, and I might change.
Yeah, because our defense is so bad, man. They're just going to open up and just say, come on in, Poppy. Do whatever you want.
I'm changing it now based on the laughter. It's fun. I did change.
I'm scared. If I wasn't a Falcons fan, I would be picking the Titans, and I will let that be known.
Okay. God damn, that's funny. Patriots are going to Buffalo to play the Bills. This could be a really fun game.
Wait, 2 3-0 teams? Is this the marquee matchup of the weekend?
I believe so. Well, so I guess this is a test. This is the real test for Buffalo, right? I think everybody would just kind of assume the Patriots are gonna go in, go waltz in there and get out with a win. But boy, if the Bills could pull this off, man, that would be massive for that team. Man, I really want to take the Bills on this one. I want to be a hot take. I want to take the Bills on this one. You know what? I'm doing it. Taking the Bills on it.
They just got to protect the football and play defense, right? Like, they just can't turn the ball over against this Patriots defense.
Mm-hmm.
Here was my logic towards this. I love the way Buffalo's playing right now. They play very smart. They keep the scores low. Josh Allen looks much improved this year. I think at the beginning of the season, I was too soon in anointing the Jets as this year's Bears.
Yeah.
And it's starting to look like the Bills are this year's Bears.
Yeah, it is.
And honestly, I had a feeling it would come from this division. Obviously, the Sam Darnold illness has a lot to do with it not being the Jets. I think they would have fared much better the last couple weeks with anyone besides for Luke Falk as their quarterback. I was honestly hoping he did okay.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't rooting against him.
He's bad.
Yeah.
And the Jets are our sports program team, and I'm just like, well, they will be again when Sam Darnold's back. Papa Sam.
I'm taking a little back seat on them right now until.
Also,
Sandy's
my
back.
Jamison Crowder fantasy, any sort of clout Jamison Crowder has in fantasy is completely gone until Sam Darnold comes back. So please, Papa Sam, come back to me.
Come back.
Here's my logic for picking the Patriots on the road. Although I really do like the Bills at home, I think the Patriots have the best defense I've seen them have in a decade at least. I also think that I believe James White is healthy. They have a lot of options right now on offense, even with Antonio Brown being gone. I don't know if Edelman's playing, and I know he's questionable, so that makes it close. I do think this game is close, but I keep passing up on layups right now on the pick'em. I keep picking underdogs. I can't pick 5 underdogs a week. I'm picking my underdogs wisely from this point on, one or two a week. This will not be one of them. I'm taking the Patriots. They're, I think, like a -6.5 on the road. And once someone's over a -6, I don't really pick against them.
Yeah, and so that's one of the other reasons why I am picking against them, is because if I did select the Bills and they win, no one will have chosen that.
Right, and I try to sneak in 1 or 2 of those every week.
But this is my only one.
Right. Smart.
So, Browns and Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to do whatever the hell they want. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win big. I think, man, Kermit the Frog. The offensive line of the Browns just can't do it, man. The Ravens defense I think that Ravens defense is just going to have their way. They're just going to have their way with Baker Mayfield.
What's crazy is
that's on the
Ravens defense allowed a lot of points last week, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like there was parts of the game where the Ravens defense really shined against Pat Mahomes, causing 3 and outs when a lot of other teams couldn't have.
Right.
So
and that was against a really good Chiefs team. Now imagine that Ravens defense against a really bad Browns team. Ooh.
Right, and can you imagine what's going to be happening in Cleveland if they get off to a 1-3 start?
Oh man, Freddie Kitchens, man, I can't wait to watch that press conference.
The one thing I did like about what Antonio Brown said, which is relevant to this game tenfold, is his comeback where he was like, man, how you got drafted over Lamar Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, that whole part of the rant,
absolutely
I was
true.
Like, that's true, but how he got drafted over Sam Darnold, who could be one of the future, superstars of the NFL, Lamar Jackson, who's already becoming a superstar, and Josh Allen, who's already off to 3-0 start in the AFC.
I'm still pretty okay with what I've seen from Mason Rudolph, too. I mean, I would rather have Mason Rudolph than Baker Mayfield.
I wouldn't want either one of them, but yeah, Mason Rudolph, I would say value-wise, 3rd-round pick.
Sure. Yeah.
Where Baker probably should have went.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, but Mason Rudolph is NFL-sized. He's got an NFL arm.
That's what I mean, yeah.
He's mobile. He can roll out and not get destroyed because he's a big boy.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Yeah.
Would you rather have Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield?
I don't want an Oklahoma quarterback, but I think Kyler Murray already looks better than Baker Mayfield.
Yep. Okay. Chiefs at the Lions.
You know who else looks better than him? Freaking Josh Allen. Or Kyle Allen, excuse me.
Kyle, yeah.
The backup quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, who will probably be the starter.
Also, Gardner Minshew is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. So
we got a list.
Who knew? Okay. So we're both taking the Ravens on that. I think that's a silly question, right?
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens, but I actually think this game will be competitive.
I mean, it will because it's a rivalry game.
The Ravens are going to bounce back after a loss to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I think that the Cleveland Browns also are going to fight their asses off not to be 1-3.
Sure. But then it's not going to work because Freddie Kitchens is going to call some really terrible plays. How come he does that, though?
But Freddie, how come he's so bad? He's like, and he's going to be like, I'm a piece of shit.
He's like,
and I don't deserve love.
He's going to kill himself on TV. The guy,
he
really beat him.
He slowly brings out all the proper equipment and just sets it up. You're like, I think I know what's coming, but...
You're like, man, this is getting real dark, Freddie. You need to pick it up. You need to go be an offensive coordinator again. Well, except for not, because you call bad plays, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean...
You suck.
Yeah, you had a hard time being an offensive
coordinator. Don't go
coordinator.
for it on 4th and 9 with a ton of minutes left.
Not only that, but here's what people need to realize about Freddie Kitchens. He wasn't even the offensive coordinator for all of last year. The offensive coordinator, Haley, had to get let go for him to even come in.
That is true.
He's never even had a full year of offensive coordinator experience. Let's move on.
The Browns not only did not give the job to Haley, they shit-canned him and the coach. That's how much cleaning house they did. Anyway, Chiefs and the Lions. man, Kansas City going to Detroit. I like this game. I do. I'm taking the Chiefs on the road because it's, I mean, kind of just silly to go against them. But you know what? I think the Lions, man, maybe they surprise them. I'm going to go with the Chiefs, but if the Lions win it, let's say I'll root for the Lions because if the Lions win it, that makes the story in that division very interesting.
I agree. It's like every team in that division just going to keep winning games
Yeah.
besides for when they play each other, because that's what it seems like. I'm going to take the Chiefs every week from now on. I've decided I don't really care what the matchup is, and I don't even care if my gut says the other team can win it like it does in this one, because I think on both sides of the ball,
Yeah.
the Lions are pretty good.
Yeah.
But the problem is that on both sides of the ball, the Chiefs are excellent right now.
Yep.
I'm not picking against them. I love the resurgence of Shady McCoy after the down year last year. I'm glad that wasn't the end of him. He's one of my favorite players. I got the Chiefs. There's not a lot to analyze here.
Nope.
There's a reason they're a 95% pick 'em favorite in this game.
Absolutely. Raiders at the Colts. Raiders in Indianapolis. Man, every single week I'm a little bit more. Well, every single week, 3 weeks, but I'm a little more surprised and impressed by Jacoby Brissett. You kind of tend to forget that he was a really good backup. He was a really good backup in New England, and when they got rid of Jacoby Brissett, along with Jimmy G, everyone was kind of had question marks over their head of why New England would just purge all of their good-looking backups, you know? So
Right.
It was pretty surprising. I think it's a good pickup for Indianapolis. I'm going to go with the Colts in this game. But I'm not ruling out the Raiders for stealing a win here, though. I don't think the Raiders are a bad team. They're 1-2. They're better than the Browns. I mean, same record as the Browns, but I think the Raiders are probably this year's Browns. Honestly, they'll probably go 8-8.
Yeah, so the thing with the Colts is they've already beaten the Chargers and the Falcons. That's their 2 wins. No matter how you right. Am I right on that? No matter how you fold that,
Yes.
like those are 2 very impressive W's.
Yes.
Or excuse me, no, barely lost to the Chargers, then beat the Titans, then beat the Falcons.
Right.
All close games. Every single one of them is close games. So I don't see the Colts blowing anybody out.
No.
No. It's hard because the Raiders on the opposite end have. Yes, they won that really good game in Denver, but they got their asses absolutely handed to them by the Chiefs and the Vikings.
Yeah, they did.
2 pretty stout offenses. One of them a really good defense. The Raiders have this tendency in both of those losses. They came out and actually scored first. So they have a tendency to start, because it's a John Gruden offense, with the perfect play calls when they have it all like practiced out, right? Because they always say your first like 15 to 20 plays are scripted. John Gruden looks great in those, and then anything after that scares me. So I have a really hard time picking the Raiders, even though talent-wise I think they're right up there with the Colts. It's just I don't think the Raiders can stop the deep ball, and I think that Jacoby Brissett's going to find T.Y. Hilton deep a few times, so I'm going to take the Colts.
Okay.
I will say until about Wednesday this week, I had the Raiders picked.
Okay.
I had to talk myself off the ledge on that one.
Yeah. That's still a tough one. I want to say the Raiders won it. I mean, I'd be more surprised that the Colts. Well, I don't know. I just wouldn't be that surprised if the Raiders could get a win there. I don't think the Colts are a great team. I think they're a solid team though. So
I think the Colts are a great team with a good quarterback.
There you go.
Is what I think the Colts are. I think last year they showed they are a great team. But without Andrew Luck, I don't know how many wins it's going to take for me to get over it. But without Andrew Luck, it's going to take some time.
You need time to heal.
Jacoby Brissett is an NFL starter.
We need time to heal.
And if I wake up tomorrow morning and switch this pick back to the Raiders, help me, freaking God. I'm coming for y'all.
I'm not tinkering anymore now. I'm done.
Every time I tinker, I'm wrong. But you know what? I tinkered in the fact that I changed it to the Colts in the first place. So maybe I need to untinker my tinker. Anyways, I'm taking the Colts at home.
I might tinker back to the Patriots. Never know. Probably not. Maybe. Chargers and Dolphins. Chargers win that. I don't know how many games the Dolphins win this year.
Probably exactly 0.
Yeah, they might go winless. Which is that's a impressive thing itself. If they do go winless, they would be the only team to ever go undefeated and winless.
Whoa. Well, because they're also the only team to go undefeated.
Right. But then if they go winless, too.
They're also the only team to ever go undefeated and win 1 game, or 2 games, or 3 games, or whatever amount they've ever won besides for that.
That's true, because they're the only team that's ever been undefeated. So
makes it an unbreakable stat.
But that'd be a pretty impressive thing, though, to go winless. No, it's not. It's not impressive. That sucks. Quit sucking.
Yeah. Also, I didn't mention it in the first 10 minutes of the show, but that's when it was announced. Melvin Gordon not only came back this week, which we all knew.
Yes, he did.
But he is now also playing this weekend.
He is playing too.
And what a good warm-up game for him.
Oh yeah.
Then against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. If I'm the Chargers and I'm like, man, I need to have him play in a game. When should I start him? I'm gonna start him against the goddamn Miami Dolphins.
Now, that being said, I root for Josh Rosen every week, and in Rosen we trust.
Absolutely.
I hope they find a way.
Yeah, me too. They're not gonna.
I think if I had Melvin Gordon on my fantasy team, which I definitely do, I would not play him this week. Just because you see some numbers next to his name doesn't mean you put him in. He's probably not going to play that much. It's going to be a tune-up game.
Yeah.
Someone's going to probably tell me I'm an idiot on Monday because he's going to end up with 2 touchdowns and like only 10 plays. But sorry if you're listening. Though.
I think they treat it like a preseason game for him. But
yeah.
Redskins and Giants. Well, not the Redskins. So absolutely not taking the Redskins. Not with Case Keenum starting. I liked what I saw of Daniel Jones. I think so did New York fans. I think if literally anyone started for that team and played slightly better than Eli, anyone in New York would just be really thrilled right now. Daniel Jones looked good in that game. We'll give him props for it. I still don't know about selecting him that high, but he looked good in that game.
He's looked good in every opportunity. I know when. Yeah. So here's what's interesting about Daniel Jones. He was like personally vouched for by the Mannings.
Sure.
And then people are like, "Who gives a shit?" Then he comes in and has the best preseason of any of the young quarterbacks, and everyone's like, "Who gives a shit?" Then last week, even after Saquon Barkley gets hurt, he brings his team back to win a really tough game, and then people are still like, "Who gives a shit?"
Yeah.
I think the dude's for real.
He's good.
I did say something in there. Saquon Barkley is hurt.
Yes, he is.
I think that matters in this game.
It matters in this game, but Case Keenum is still starting for that team. I mean, it does not matter. I mean, it will matter that Saquon Barkley is hurt, but it's still Case Keenum. I cannot take the Redskins.
Yeah, and I think this ultimately boils down to one of those situations where it's like, you got 3 quarterbacks, you got no quarterback. You know what I mean?
I know.
They clearly messed up on who they picked to be their starter. I get it. Colt McCoy was still hurt, and I really genuinely believe their rookie quarterback is not ready.
No.
So I hope they don't throw him to the Wolves. But I will say this. If they lose this game, which I think they have a good chance of doing that.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if Gruden gets fired.
Ooh.
In week 4.
Wow.
And because of that simple reason, I'm going to take the Redskins because I don't think that's happening.
Okay. I like that. Very good. Panthers and Texans. Texans. I mean, I think the Texans. I think the Panthers are bad. I mean, it helps. Honestly, does it? I think it might help at this point that Cam Newton's out. I think it actually helps them.
I think Kyle Allen has a pretty damn good game in this game.
I do too. I mean, I think
he's got the weapons.
He's got great
Here's the deal,
weapons.
Carolina Panthers fans.
They could.
Cam Newton had the weapons too. Greg Olsen is back. He is healthy. He is a top tight end again. DJ Moore is a top wide receiver. Samuels is a good complement to that. They have Christian fucking McCaffrey.
Right.
Top 4 running back, hands down.
But
and
Cam
not just
Newton,
in fantasy, he is a top 4 running back now.
But Cam Newton has been playing, besides the stupid decisions that he makes,
Right.
He's also been playing injured for 2-3 years now. He is not the same that he was the year they went to the Super Bowl. So I think Kyle Allen is a good fit for this team, and I like them in this game. I'm gonna go with home field advantage on this one. Houston.
Same. I think Carolina has a great defense. I think Houston's is better.
Mm-hmm.
I think Carolina Panthers have a lot of talent on offense. I think Houston might have more. The one thing that worries me about Houston is what Carolina does have going for them, and that's a running game, which matters in defensive games like this. So, is Carlos Hyde the answer in Houston? I still don't think so.
I like him more than Chubb, though.
2 great defenses. I'm going to take the team that has an elite quarterback. I'm going to go with Houston.
Yeah. I think the Browns probably should have kept Carlos Hyde, but what are you going to do?
I don't know. I don't know why he's so undervalued. Maybe just because he doesn't get touchdowns, and he's not very explosive. I think that's what it really boils down to. Yeah. But as a guy who's filling in for an injured starting running back, I think Houston's the perfect place for him.
Yeah. Buccaneers and the Rams. Well, I'm not going to go against the Rams at home. I'm against the Buccaneers. Seems like a lay-in, right? That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, this was the most one-sided of all the picks of the week, and I think we all know why.
Yeah.
So, yes. Tampa had one good outing this season. They had a couple other close games, but they're one of those teams that historically they have terrible records, and almost every game's close. They just don't win close games. Yep. And I don't like Jameis Winston in any competitive game at all. So, Rams are great. I'm going to take the Rams.
Okay. Seahawks going to Arizona. I think this is a good bounce back game for Seattle. I think they'll win on the road. But this could be the opportunity Arizona needs to steal a win. I mean, this was actually kind of a toss-up for me, especially after the Seahawks' performance last week. But if they're going to bounce back, it's going to be in this game. I'm taking Seahawks on the road with reservations.
Yeah, I had a part of my head that just go I immediately picked Seattle, and part of my head just going, well.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, but Seattle, because Russell Wilson, defense, running game. I like DK Metcalf at wide receiver. I say that every week now. Freaking young stud. I just want him to come over and just hold me like a baby. But
big dude, man.
I don't know if that'll ever happen. But a boy's got a dream.
Yep, that's right.
Arizona is due for a win, but I don't think they get it.
No.
Seattle's a -5. I think they win by more than that. Cardinals, you're going to have a tough year.
Yeah, I think so. Vikings and Bears. This is actually could also be a marquee game of the week. Also, could be. I mean, just not because they're obviously that neither of them are undefeated. But man, this should be a tough game. This is a tough division. I'm taking the Vikings on the road, but I am regretting that I'm taking the Vikings on the road already. But I'm still going to go with the Vikings on the road. This could be one that I go and make a dumb mistake and go take the Bears last minute tomorrow.
Don't you change it, man.
I'm not changing it, but I'm going to take the
Dalvin
Vikings.
Cook is the hottest. He's so hot right now.
That's why I'm taking him.
He's the hottest running back.
That's why I'm taking him. It's Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook. And that defense.
Yeah. Hard to go against the Vikings.
And the Bears are only a -1.5 at home, which anytime I see that, I tend to take the away team. I'm like, oh, here's my chance to pick the away team. Clearly, even Vegas doesn't have a lot of faith in the home team.
Yeah.
And Chicago's kind of looked like, to me, questionable in every game so far this year, where Minnesota's in their 2 wins has been, I would say, pretty convincing, right?
Yeah. I have a lot of away teams. Ugh.
I mean, Chicago always scored 3 points in the opener against the Packers. They won 16-14 against the Broncos, in a game that I actually had such little faith in them that I took the Broncos. And then, yeah, they beat the Redskins on Monday night, but I had a feeling,
Yep.
that I was making a dumb call on that in the first place. This game almost came down to the fact that I just don't want the Vikings to win, so I picked the Bears.
Yep. I don't want the Vikings to win as well. I actually like the Bears. The Bears are actually a little teeny tiny bit tied for my favorite NFC team. I like the Lions too, but the Lions are also bad. But the Bears, because they have one of my very favorite football players of all time was a Bear, and that's Brian Urlacher. And I loved that team. So, I had a little bias when selecting. I wanted to go with the Bears, but I am going to take the Vikings still. Not tinkering right now.
I've had the Bears picked all week.
Good.
And it was because I keep picking against the Bears. And Khalil Mack keeps telling me to shut the fuck up.
Yes, he does.
So maybe this is the week Montgomery finally gets going.
And again,
I love the way they're using Gabriel, former Falcon, but he's a freaking stud for a little dude.
Yeah.
I like the Bears. Maybe this is the week their offense finally gets going. Probably not. It'll probably be a low-scoring, close game.
Yeah.
But I think Khalil Mack just shows how much I don't like Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
I hope he beats him up real good.
Beats him up bad.
And I think he's going to beat him up bad.
Good.
So, move on from that.
Jaguars and the Broncos. I'm going to go. God, I don't like this. I'm selecting a lot of away teams. I am choosing the Jaguars in this game, though, for the simple reason that I like the Gardner Minshew storyline. And I'm just going to keep running with it. I like that fun energy he has in Jacksonville. And that team is in a dumpy city in a dumpy state, and I love that it's just a fun little thing going on. And he went to that, that upset. He went to that WSU game, and he was wearing his short shorts or whatever, and he was just a big old Pullman bro up there, and I thought that was hilarious. And can't believe they lost that game. What a comeback by UCLA, by the way. What a comeback. But I like the Gardner Minshew story. So that's why I'm taking the Jags. And because I did not choose the Jags because I was an idiot. And I had the Jags all week last week. And then I changed it last minute. So I went with the Jaguars at the beginning of the week this week, and I am not tinkering it. Taking the Jaguars. Story alone.
I misspoke earlier because I thought I was reading that Jalen Ramsey was heading to Denver. The article was he's heading to Denver with the Jacksonville Jaguars, not to Denver. So they still have Jalen Ramsey, which I had a feeling they would when I made this pick, so I can't say that changes my mind about anything. I picked the Broncos right off the bat this week. I don't see the Broncos as an 0-4 team. They've been highly competitive in almost all of their games. I am not sold on Gardner Minshew. I am sold on the rest of the team.
Sure.
I like their receiving core. Shark and D.D. Westbrook are studs. I love that defense. I really like the Broncos defense, though, as well, and I like the Broncos running game. I think Philip Lindsay finally got going last week.
Royce
Freeman is a great compliment there. They have a nice little core of unknown receivers. I don't know when the rookie Fant is going to get going at tight end, but I think this is a classic moment for Joe Flacco. I don't think that Gardner Minshew shows up 2 veteran quarterbacks in back-to-back weeks, especially on the road. This is not in the safety of Jacksonville. This is in Mile High Stadium, one of the 4 hardest places to play in the NFL. I think the moment's over for him. I think reality hits, and I think it hits hard. I think Denver wins, and I don't think it's a close game.
Okay. Blowout.
I think Denver. I don't mean like blowout. Like Denver's capable of scoring more than 28 points in a game, because I don't think they are. I think Denver wins this game like 28-10, 28-14.
Okay, I like it. Cowboys and Saints in New Orleans. This is the Sunday night game. Could very well be the best game of the week. Could be. I like that Saints win on the road with Teddy Bridgewater, and I don't think the Cowboys are going to have an undefeated season, obviously. It's pretty hard to do that. If it's any time to beat the Cowboys, it would be at home in New Orleans on Sunday night with Teddy Bridgewater. Kamara, yep, taking the Saints at home. This would be the week. This would be the week for the Cowboys to lose. Is my point.
I agree with you, and I had a lot of those thoughts, especially after having faith in the Saints last weekend and all the nice things I said about them earlier. Kamara, Michael Thomas, great defense. Teddy Bridgewater just needs to be a game manager. Not only that, but when they're at home on the turf, that's when Taysom Hill likes to come out to play. That's when Papa likes to do his work.
Sure. You know,
that being said, there's no week I will ever pick against the Dallas Cowboys this season, no matter who they are playing. They are the Kansas City Chiefs of the NFC to me. I think Dak Prescott goes out there and just does whatever he wants to them. I think that Ezekiel Elliott has a monster game. Ezekiel Elliott's backup on like 14 carries had over 100 yards last week. I don't think, no matter how good the New Orleans Saints defense is, they can stop the Dallas Cowboy offense.
You know, this is such a weird game because I hate the Saints so badly. But I like them with Teddy Bridgewater. Now it's an interesting story.
Me too.
Because I like Teddy Bridgewater, but I still hate that team. And I'm also real old school on this one, but I hate the Cowboys almost as much as I hate the Patriots because I hate them from the 90s. So this is a hard game for me. I still don't like the Cowboys, and as much as I find myself rooting for the Cowboys these days, because I love Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator, and I like Dak, and I like a lot of the players on that team, and I like that they've been like losers for the last 2 decades, so they're like nice and humble, and all those Cowboys fans have humbled up a little bit. God, Cowboys fans used to be unbearable. They used to be like the Patriots fans now. Just unbearable. But now those fans are all right. So, I honestly do like the Cowboys in this game too, but I'm going to take the Saints still. Still the Saints.
I'm sticking with the Cowboys. I like Dak in big moments, and this is a big moment. Yeah, I also don't like Teddy Bridgewater in big moments.
Yeah, this could be a really good game though. This could be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It probably is the game of the week.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good game. Monday night. This will not be the game of the week.
I was waiting for this because it is my official toilet bowl.
This is the toilet bowl, and my team is in this game, and this is a toilet bowl. This is a bad game on both sides of the ball. The Bengals going to Pittsburgh. I'm going to take Pittsburgh at home because I'm not going to root against my team. But boy, I should start rooting against my team to get Pickems. I should be doing that. Good news for either Cincinnati or Pittsburgh is that somebody won't be winless anymore. Man, I'm taking the Steelers at home in this game, but I am not surprised if Cincinnati goes in there and wins. I like Andy Dalton more than I like Mason Rudolph.
Well,
but I like that Steelers defense a little more every week. And the Steelers did have 2 close games with 2 good teams. They're losing by a little bit against good teams. So I'm hoping the 49ers are a much better team. I think the 49ers and not the Seahawks as much, but the 49ers are a much better team than the Bengals. So I'm hoping the Steelers at home show who they are and they're the better team here. But I do not know that. I do think, I will say this, I'm not a huge proponent for this. You also know that they will not do this because the Rooney family will not do it. I think if they are under 500 this year, they have got to reconsider Mike Tomlin, though. He is making some garbage calls. And I don't know what he's thinking. He makes some terrible calls on offense, and he makes some terrible, maybe the defensive coordinator, God, they have people guarding people they shouldn't be, and Devin Bush is good, but he's not, he's kind of small, and you got him on a lot of tight ends. Been very interesting. I'm gonna go with the Steelers.
What day of the week is this game on?
This is a Monday night football game.
Okay, so Andy Dalton's in this game, which means that he won't win. Andy Dalton doesn't win primetime games. This is
There
on a
you go.
Monday night. If it's on a Monday night or a Sunday night or a Thursday night or in the playoffs, you cannot pick Andy Dalton.
Or on TV.
It is a rule. I think the Bengals are the better 0-3 team, and I don't think that matters because this is a Monday night game. I looked at this and I went, oh, yeah, Monday night.
Oh.
Steelers.
There you
Steelers
go.
at home. Andy Dalton on the road on a Monday night.
Yeah.
Please prove me wrong. You know what I mean? Like, prove someone wrong for once in your goddamn life.
The Steelers did pick up a really nice pick from the Seahawks, though, on the tight end position. I can't remember who they just picked up for yet another trade. God, they're gonna have another draft pick. They're gonna have no draft picks next year.
Which is interesting because on the Seahawks went and picked up Wilson back, one of their tight ends that they had for a few years. He got cut by the Raiders.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it just feels like it's a reunited and it feels so good situation there. And then the Steelers got what they needed, which is a number 2 tight end.
Yes, and I think Vance is hurt right now, so
Needed then. Well,
yes.
and that actually makes me even more concerned for them going into this game
Yep,
because,
same
like
here.
I said, if this was a Sunday morning game, I would have picked the Bengals instantly.
Yeah.
So I only picked against them because it's Monday night, and I didn't know that. So now knowing that, I'm still gonna pick the Steelers, but I'm gonna call this game 21-20.
Oh yeah, that's fine. They'll win, but with a Boswell field goal.
Or like Cincinnati misses an extra point.
Yeah, Dalton gets they get a safety on him.
Just something like that's gonna
Yeah.
happen. But I have a hard time picking the Bengals.
Yeah, me too. I think the Bengals are still not the worst team in the division, though. I actually do think, sadly, it is the Steelers. I think the season's a bust without Ben. I think it's okay if I start choosing against them. Honestly, if they were playing a better team, if this would have been last week again to select against the 49ers, I probably would have taken them. But because it is the Bengals and it's at home, I am going to take the Steelers. But I really do think they are the worst team in that division now, without Ben. And I'm only saying slightly worse than the Browns, though, by the way. I do think, actually, the Browns are actually worse than Cincinnati. I actually do believe that. So.
I don't know who's the worst of the three. I think you could pick any week which team's the worst.
This is the Ravens' division to lose this year. I'll say that.
Yeah, realistically, the Ravens only really need to win 9 games to win this division.
Yeah, and the Ravens will probably. I mean, I think the Ravens the Ravens are the playoff team of this division. So, and I'll root for them. That's the thing. I will root for the Ravens in the playoffs. I like them. I actually do like the Ravens. Even though they're a rival team, I still like them. So, I like Lamar Jackson. I do, and I even liked Flacco. I mean,
I think it's a good time to call it because right now Clemson and North Carolina are 14-14 in the third quarter. Let's go Mac Brown.
All right.
Let's go Blue. Let's
Thank
get on
you,
this game.
everybody. You have a great day. Have a great weekend. Thank you, Mr. Swan.
Hell yeah.
Go, not the Jets. Let's go Dolphins. Let's take Rosen this week. Let's just choose a team every week now until Sam's back. Until Sam Darnold's back. Does that sound fair?
I like that.
Let's go.
Also, Virginia's beating Notre Dame at halftime, so let's go Virginia.
Okay. Let's go watch some college football. Everybody have a great day. And
Have a great day,
go
everyone.
Dolphins.
And go Warriors.
Go Rosen and go Warriors.